So I get a lot of people asking me about vehicle sales and where it's going to go. And my answer is value. Brands that offer a lot of value are going to be the winners. And you want a perfect example? Well, it's sitting right here, the Mitsubishi Outlander. Now here's some real numbers for you. In the Canadian market, Outlander, at the end of June of 2020, so right in the middle of this pandemic, sales of this product are up 65% compared to last year in 2019. Well, why would that be? Well, people who are shopping and need to buy a new car are looking to get the most they can for their dollar. That's where this brand plays, and that's where this particular model plays as well. Now, another part of this story and why I chose it for a value utility vehicle is because Mitsubishi jumped way up in the quality scores from J.D. Power. Their initial quality study, they moved from 24 to number 6. In fact, the highest ranking Japanese nameplate is Mitsubishi. So a big selling feature for Mitsubishi, of course, is their 10-year warranty. It comes with a 10-year, 160,000 kilometer limited powertrain warranty, a 5-year, 100,000 kilometer new vehicle limited warranty, and 5 years of roadside assistance. Now that's what gets people in the door. But then when you start looking at this and why I chose it as a value story, it actually offers a lot. So the one we're looking at here is one up from the base, okay? It's not the top trim, it's one up from the base. And the one that I like because you go from 16-inch wheels, this one has 18-inch wheels. Those look good. It's got some nice chrome accents, got driving lights in the front, and some things that you typically don't see in this sort of price range. This one here is roughly $32,000. You get painted door handles down the side and retracting outside mirrors with integrated turn signals. So it's a nice size vehicle as well. And one key feature to this is the fact that this vehicle comes standard with 3 rows of seats and room for up to 7 passengers. So let's get in, go for a drive, and I'll tell you more about why cars like this are the ones that are going to be selling. So Mitsubishi has been quietly updating this Outlander over the last few years. So to get back into this sort of base model gasoline version has been a nice surprise. And it did surprise me. The same way it surprised me the last time I drove it. That was 3 years ago. So I actually went back and watched the YouTube video I did then about this vehicle. And here's what I had to say. I've actually quite enjoyed driving this. I actually texted the person that delivered this car and I said, is this the 4-cylinder or the 6-cylinder? I was surprised by how responsive it was. So I have no problem recommending this 4-cylinder now. And that's exactly the reaction I had this year, 3 years later, is that I got into it, I started driving it, I'm like, this is actually really good. And it's surprising because if you look just on paper, it doesn't really make sense. It's got 166 horsepower from a 2.4 liter 4-cylinder engine working through a continuously variable transmission. But in city driving, it feels really quite responsive. And then the transmission, you can put it over into sport. And typically these things are kind of like a placebo effect. They maybe lift the revs up a little bit, but they don't have much impact. With this one, there certainly is a feeling that the engine and the transmission are much more responsive. Same thing again. I wouldn't believe this if I didn't know that there's a 4-cylinder under the hood. But you can get a 6-cylinder. It has 224 horsepower. And years ago, that was the default engine that I said that people should get. Because the early versions of this model, the 4-cylinder with the CVT, the drivability wasn't as good as it is today. But now you can choose either, and both of them are quite satisfying. So you might wonder, why would I go for a 6-cylinder? Well, first of all, a 6-cylinder and a compact utility is a rare bird altogether. And if you need to tow, that vehicle can tow 3,500 pounds, which is a nice amount if you have like a small sort of jet ski or something you want to pull behind this. Now, I mentioned they've been quietly updating this Outlander over the last couple of years, and one is all-wheel drive, or all-wheel control as they call it. They used to have a front-wheel drive model. Now all of the Outlanders come standard with super all-wheel control. So what does the super mean? Super means it not only can shift torque side to side, it can also shift torque front to back. So it definitely gives you more traction capabilities than certainly a front-wheel drive or just the all-wheel control version. Okay, let's pull over here and talk about the inside. Now, I mentioned off the beginning, due to COVID-19 concerns, people are looking for value, so getting the most they can in a vehicle. So you need to buy a new vehicle. Let's look for something that we can take an extra kid to hockey practice, to ballet, to soccer, whatever. And that's really what this Outlander is about. So it comes standard now. That's another upgrade they made to this vehicle. They used to offer just the 2 rows with 5 seats. Now every single version comes with 3 rows and 7 passengers. Now this is, don't kid yourself, this is not a big mid-size utility vehicle. This is a compact utility, but sort of compact plus. And those seats are back there with proper seat belts to give you the option of taking an extra person. So you have 2 kids and they want to take a friend to soccer practice, they can go in the 3rd row. Best for kids. Grandparents come to visit. Grandparents get to sit in the back seat, kids get put in the 3rd row. You have that flexibility. The way this vehicle is going to be used, I would guess by most families, family of 4, would be that 3rd row would be stored away. Then you get a really nice large cargo area. You put those seats up on occasion to take that extra kid, and that's where this vehicle plays. And there's really only one other competitor in this class that has that capability for a compact utility. So it is quite unique. Now, I pointed out some of the nice features on the outside, like the folding mirrors and the painted door handles. Then you get on the inside of this. This is one up from the base model, and this is really good value. You get power seats, not only for the driver, but also the passenger. I'm here to tell you, most vehicles in this class do not come with a power passenger seat. On top of that, for the driver, there's lumbar support. Trust me on this, that isn't something you get in a vehicle like this at roughly $32,000. This one has the sunroof. You also get an 8-inch display audio system. It comes standard with Apple and Android. However, they got rid of the volume knob. The one I reviewed a few years ago had a volume knob. Now they've gone to this touch-sensitive volume control. There is volume control on the steering wheel, however. There's also USB jacks underneath the center console, and in the back there's 2 USB jacks as well. Now, I was watching that review from 3 years ago, as I mentioned, and the comments I had then still hold today. The materials in here are really quite nice. Soft materials on the doors, on the armrest, the top of the dash, nice leather-wrapped steering wheel, piano black trim on the inside. Nice combination of materials on the seats with the Alcantara, the stitching, and the faux leather. It looks quite good and should hold up. This is a trend we're seeing in the auto industry, to the faux suede, the Alcantara, and it actually is quite nice because it's warm in the winter and cool in the summer. And speaking of warm in the winter, you also get heated front seats. So as I mentioned, I chose this vehicle for the times that we're in. And people are looking to value brands in order to get the most they can for their dollar. And in the case of Mitsubishi, the most coverage they can get for their dollar with the long warranty, improved JD Power scores, and the fact that sales are up shows that, yeah, that is the case. That's not just my theory. I think it's actually holding true. And I'm here to tell you, it's surprisingly good to drive. When you think to yourself, 2.4 liter 4-cylinder CVT, what's that going to be like? It's a surprise. Take one for a drive. You'll be surprised like I am. And if you want more power, they will sell you the V6. So the base model Outlander is right around $30,000 in Canada. This one is $32,000. That's a lot of vehicle for your money. And it's going to be interesting to watch as we go through the recovery stage, which brands are going to win and lose. Mitsubishi's perfectly placed because they have their 10-year warranty. Their vehicles offer a lot, as I showed you, lots of content in this car, and it gives you a lot of room without having to buy a larger mid-size 3-row utility vehicle. So if you're looking to save some money, stretch your dollar, get the most you can, Outlander is not a bad place to start.